Welcome back, Bluegrass. The Race Hub is back for episode 14. As you know, we took a crack at this last week and had some technical difficulties. Um, I am joined once again by Roger Pierce, who is my new best friend. I talked about this last time because we're both Kurt Busch fans. We're both Ohio State fans. We're both from Ohio. He's a current service member. I'm a veteran, so we're basically the same person. In addition to Roger, we've got the HMFIC, Jason Collins, on the scene once again.
What's up, everybody? We are back, episode 14. We're going to be talking about the Atlanta winners for our Xfinity and Cup Series, as well as this week's Bristol Dirt and Iowa. Let's crack straight into it.
Yeah, all right, so we are going to jump into Atlanta real quick. We're going to cover the Xfinity and Truck Series, or Xfinity and Cup Series. We covered Truck on the last episode. So we'll jump right into Xfinity. Let's pull up some results here. This was the one... my number one guy I love to pick. I've picked him more than anyone else, and I failed to pick him for the time he got it done. Big congrats to Michael Robinson for getting the job done. I've loved racing with this guy in the past. Obviously, he's an Xfinity now, and I'm not. But super smooth, clean driver. He's always in the mix, which is why I like to pick him so often. So huge congrats to him. Led 6 laps there. I think at the end, all of them. I might be mistaken on that. Radburn Shutters shows up P2, which we all know he's always a threat in the Xfinity series. Kind of surprising to not see him lead a lap, but at the end of the day, a P2. Mo Abbott coming in P3, and Ryan Chapman P4. And then we talked about this last time. I don't know if they're brothers or father-son, cousin-uncle, brother-in-law, whatever, the Mace duo, Kyle and Todd
Clan.
Mace.
Yep, the Mace Clan.
Yeah.
There's a brother or a father and a son and an uncle, so I'm not sure who's who. I think Todd is the oldest, followed by Bobby. I think Bobby's the uncle, and then Kyle is Todd's son, or Kyle is Bobby's son. One of the two, I'm not sure. But the Mace Clan, glad to have them both in. You know, obviously they had a really good run, like you said, P5 and P6 in the Xfinity series.
That was actually Kyle led 63 laps. I know you said he was maybe looked like he was the force to be reckoned with for most of the race.
Yep, absolutely. He was the guy to beat, I feel like, in that race. And there was a late race caution that ended up kind of switching up the strategy and everything, and allowed Michael to go up there and snag the win. Radburn was P2, Mo was P3. Mo has been having a great run as of late in the Xfinity cars. He finished P2 at Michigan, and P3 this at Atlanta, and then P2 again at Iowa. So he's had 3 straight top 3s. So
that's about all you can ask for.
Mo's having a really, really good run right now. Looking at the points real quick, Jim Ott is still your points leader, 219 points, followed by Kyle Mays at 213. James Silver's coming in at 212. Then Adam Lancaster coming in at 198, Mascroft at 195, Jordan Slater 192, Sean Kostritza 187, tied with Michael Robinson for 7th with 187. Both of those guys moved up. Sean moved +3 and Michael moved +1. Tyler Evans +8 with 177 points, currently tied for 9th place with Blake Kinsley with 177. Scott Fritz is on the outside looking in of the top 10. Scott Fritz is dropped 6 positions this past week. Has 175 total points. I would like also to point out Blake has only ran 4 races and has 177 points and is tied for 9th. That's pretty good. Like,
that's getting it done.
Yeah. He's definitely to be that high up already. So I mean that's really good. I'm impressed.
Come playoff time, he will be in the mix. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Two straight. Let's see. Where was I looking at? 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s. Now, speaking of Mo's only ran 3 races. I didn't realize that till just now, until I looked at it. 3 top 5s in all 3 races in Xfinity. That's pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah, that's killing it. That's not pretty good. That's damn good.
Starting with Michigan, P3, P2, P3, right? And isn't that what I said a minute ago? Or was it P2, P3, P2?
Something
like that.
Top 5, yeah.
Something. Top threes.
Top threes, all 3 races. Really good drive and showing by Mo for sure. Looks like the biggest drop though was Blake. He dropped 8 spots because he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
So he would have been what? P2, P1? P1. Yeah, he would have been like right around the top. He would have been leading points.
Right there,
he was leading points. That's right. He was leading points last week.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. Okay. So Justin Ray and Todd Mays was your biggest loser from Iowa this week, unfortunately. So, but let's talk about the Cup Series Atlanta race real quick, and then we'll go ahead and jump back over.
Yes, sir. You want to jump on that one, Raj?
Yep, I'm pulling it
pulled up
right now.
Give you your turn in the limelight.
Yeah, right.
Since we messed up last week. All right, so Rocky Boyd took the win in Atlanta. Go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Good old Rocky, yeah. I mean, him and his team were on a different strategy than everybody else. There was a caution that was thrown for car in the wall. I remember that.
Wall, yep.
And he threw the caution as a precaution because basically you'd never know if that car was going to stay up in the wall or not. And it could have killed the field.
Yep.
So during that, Rocky and his teammates came down and did what a lot of people didn't do, get tire and fuel, and they were able to outlast the field. But Alex Huffman was pretty close to coming and ruining that.
Yeah, Huffman had a solid little run there towards the end. He's got a P3. Let's see, had a P4 at Michigan, and this week he had a P2 at Bristol Dirt. So he's been running really well. Also, that's what Huffman does though. Huffman's very consistent.
Yes.
Every season he may not win a lot, but he's like consistently top five. He'll put the good, those numbers up all season long to potentially win the points because he sees big picture. He sees points. Okay, I need those 15 playoff because he was our regular season champ in season 3 and last season. He didn't run a few races in season 4. So season 5 regular season champ and season 3 regular season champ, and then also season 3 overall champ because he won the playoffs also. So he usually has a pretty solid run. One guy, let's see, Kinder and Fritz were the guys that were dominating Atlanta. Kinder and Fritz led the most majority of those laps, along with Frankie Barroso and Jonathan Adkins. Jonathan Adkins led 25 laps, and then Kinder led 20. Frankie right there. Yeah, Frankie led 21. Scott led 39. Mike Peters, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mike Peters led 5 laps. GT led 8. And Rocky led the final 14, I do believe, to win the race. Yeah. It looked like GT was coming for him there towards the end, but nothing ever transpired from that. But yeah, so Kinder ended up going to the rear. He had the fastest lap of the race with a 30.059. Scott was a 30.071. Both of those guys ended up 2 laps down though because they were on a separate strategy. So what happened? John made contact with RS and then got RS loose up into the wall, and to avoid him coming back and the guys behind him, he just causing a big pile up through the yellow. And that was also when the comms issue happened. Everybody was on the comms, and I lost my shit for a minute. And I was like, everybody stay off the effing radio, right? Like I was like, stop.
You did that?
And I was like, if you want to do race control, come do race control. Park your car and come do race. So Yes, I did that because everyone was on the radio. I mean, there's a no tolerance for it. So I've become, I'm being stricter on it. I'm being a lot stricter on all the rules because the drivers are trying to take advantage. You give them an inch, they take a mile. Every time. It doesn't matter what it is, what circumstances, they do the same shit. So I got fed up and I told them, hey, so in that process, I left Drew and Cody in charge because I had to go cool off, right? And in that process, they didn't tell Kinder that he had an EOL until like 1 to go or 2 to go or something like that. It told him very late. So what that did was that caused him not to be able to pit with Rocky. He didn't give up he would have pitted with Rocky had he been aware, is what he said. Either way, it's not my fault. It's just part of racing, obviously. So Atlanta was, looked like we had Fritz and those guys were going to be up front, but unfortunately they didn't pull it off, and Rocky got the W. Moving on, Truck Series this week was at Bristol Dirt. What did you guys think about it?
Bristol Dirt. It ultimately went almost exactly like I expected it to, but at the end, which it's hard to recall. I think he was your initial pick, and then you changed to Allen. It might have been the other way around, but Jeremy Vaughn holds on for the win over Keith Hackney, who I guess he was out front and he was running it real tight on fuel there at the end. And I guess he was running around the bottom to save fuel, which he can make it work and still be fast. As the race progressed, which I was surprised. I'm thinking of a different race, but the low side just doesn't, unless you're highly skilled like him on dirt. I can't do it and be fast and make up positions. He was doing it and hanging around up there in second still. Or I think, did Jeremy pass him on? Was it the last lap or the
last lap? Yeah,
last lap.
Yeah, and then which actually
Jeremy was up front from the beginning, from the jump.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he stayed up towards the front of the pack from the get go. So
yeah, but he didn't lead until the last lap because he's got one lap led. Which ultimately my good buddy and teammate Wes Wigand got around Keith there, and I guess coming out of turn 4, he was able to have some momentum since Keith was on the bottom and nursing that fuel, which I know some people had some thoughts about it and the way that might look. And
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So it doesn't matter to me because he didn't alter anything by wrecking someone or blocking somebody. At the end of the day, if Keith is not in that race, I think Jeremy probably has a good shot at still winning it. Because like I said, he was up front. Duranko had a good shot. He was up front. He ended up getting a meatball that sent him into he got DQ'd. Same thing happened. Same thing I believe happened to you. You got a black flag and got DQ'd, right?
No, I got loose. It was like seven-ish laps. No, like 2 or 3 laps to go, and I just got a little loose out of 4, and I had to go down to the bottom, and I was off pace. And when I went down there, Ed Osborne was running on the bottom, and I just ended up in front of him. And normally it's something I would think I would just keep trucking, but it sent me over the inside pit wall.
Oh, so that's right. Yes. I remember. Yeah. Okay. The black flag was Cup Series.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I had a great week at dirt, but
I was going to ask you how the pit wall felt because I remember you teetering. And
yeah, I was doing a nice Smith grind on it or something, and it was. I told my teammates on Flex, I was like, man, I wish that would have happened on lap 2 because I ran 98 really good laps. I think I was running like 6th or 7th at the time and having what I thought was a pretty good run, and I made one little mistake and it screwed the whole thing up. But that's what happens when you're racing with guys that are racing at a high level. That's all it takes.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is no matter what, everyone that was running towards the front of that race was very competitive all race long. Those guys, were doing their thing. It wasn't like um, it was a fluke or something. This is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
I feel like Keith did it, whether he was running out of gas or he was just giving back the positions. I feel like he did the right thing. He's a guy coming down from a higher series. He's no longer part of that series. He's coming down. Instead of taking something away from the series and taking a potential win or whatever away from a guy, if that's what he did, I don't have an issue with it. So
that's all that matters. You guys heard it here straight from the horse's mouth.
I take no issue with him. He says, and I don't think Keith is going to just bullshit, which I mean, it's possible he is, but
I think he's number one bullshit guy.
When he comes to me and he's like, no, I was legit running out of fuel. Like he's like, I wouldn't. He's like, I'm there to win.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I don't like to lose. So and when have we ever seen him give anything up? Let's be real, ever, right? Yeah. He goes to win. He's there to win every race. He doesn't play around. So whether or not it was fuel or whether or not it was just helping out a teammate, it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit because at the end of the day, he's just coming down from another series. So it's like if Aaron Smith had let you win COTA last year, you wouldn't have been mad, right?
I'd have been kind of confused, but
you wouldn't have been mad.
No, I'm never mad about a win, but I wanted to earn that one, but I didn't.
Yeah, I'm just, to me, if he would have wrecked somebody or altered the race in some other way, I would take issue with it, but he didn't. He was being respectful at the end of the day. I know guys didn't like it. They're pissed or whatever. But you might as well just treat it like he wasn't even in the race, Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
It's kind of like when they run Le Mans next year and NASCAR is going to have that Garage 56 car there. They're racing, but they're not really racing anybody. There's nobody else in their class. It's just a car on the racetrack for the sake of racing, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yep. All right. So what else happened at Bristol Dirt? What else are we forgetting about?
I mean, the heats were fun.
The trucks were way better than Cup too.
Yeah, as someone that raced both of those series, it was kind of shocking, and I don't think it shows bad on the Cup series, more that it shows good on the truck series. Because frankly, I think it's just in the Cup series, there's a lot of guys that just don't run dirt, have never run dirt, and especially with that car, it's very tough. Different putting it on dirt. It's just a whole nothing that they've done on asphalt or really any other series transfers over to the combination of a Cup car on a dirt track, whereas the trucks, I'm not saying it drives like a dirt car at all, but it's more similar where I'm sure everyone's run dirt street stocks at some point just to see what dirt's about, and it at least correlates a little bit, like you understand, steering with the throttle, what the brakes do under certain situations, to where you at least have some frame of reference, where with the Cup cars, you just don't. It's a whole different thing.
Whole different game, yeah.
With the trucks, because I went into some practices with the trucks and with the Cup cars, and I run dirt and asphalt, so I have a little bit of understanding on both sides. With the truck, I felt like I could put it where I wanted to, and I wasn't wheeling it as hard as I was in a Cup car. At least in some of the practices, you could rip the bottom, and it was just as fast as the top if you knew how to do it. If you weren't spiking RPMs, because we had people who were running really hot and they didn't know why, and it was because they were just balls to the wall the whole time, and that's going to raise your temps.
Yep.
You can't spike it you can't spike the RPMs there. You have to be below it, or else it's going to blow up. And a lot of people didn't understand that. And I felt like the truck had a little bit more control than the car, and which let people figure out how to race it. Like it could take you 10, 15 laps in practice, and you could be comfortable enough to race it.
Yep.
So
I see what you're saying. So during the race, Monday, I want to say that Peyton Hubbard and Duranko, yeah, both of those guys got meatballs. So I know Alan asked for it to be cleared, but we've never cleared them. You know, it's one of those things where it's not something I'm going to start doing now because it wouldn't be fair to the guys previously.
Yeah. I think in Alan's defense, because he didn't realize, I don't think at the time, because he asked us if something had happened and he only had 2X, and I think he thought maybe that it happened in error. It might have been why he asked, because you know, if you earn one, I mean, we're not getting rid of, you know, mechanical penalties. There's
right.
That's insane.
So what happened, and this, I saw it happen to Peyton as well. So we worked that track really well Monday. We worked that sucker in. It was beautiful. Everybody listened to what I was trying to tell them to do in the truck series. So we had a beautiful, beautiful truck series track at Bristol Dirt, right? That sucker was worked in from the time I said run the bottom. Everybody ran the bottom, and we moved the dirt up. So our cushion was up above the wall. So what was going on was they were hitting that cushion, and instead of hitting the wall, they hit the catch fence. And when they hit the catch fence, it ripped out the oil cooler or damaged the oil cooler or whatever. But you can't run into the catch fence in real life. So
yeah.
And so that's essentially what they did was they got too hot into the corner and then ended up jumping the berm a little bit, the cushion that we had built up, and clipped the fence and the catch fence, and that's what gave them a meatball. Whether it ripped the oil cooler off or did something to the right front, Huffman said it ripped the oil cooler off or something like that, and that's possible. It did that, or it ripped something else off, mechanical steering linkage, bent something, whatever it was. They were supposed to come get that repaired, and since they didn't come get it repaired, they got disqualified. So, moving on, Cup Series. Keith Hackney leads every lap, I believe, doesn't he?
Let me get her pulled up here. I thought maybe someone else got a few in there, but I could be mistaken too.
Okay, you're right. Huffman led 3 and Brandon Robertson led 4. So, and I'm sure those were probably under caution. Brandon got to the front.
Brandon was a pit strategy call. I was in there with him. He's trying to get that laps led point.
Yeah, and I completely understand. But Keith led 118 laps. It was, his race to lose. Class of the field, 7,500 I rating on dirt. Obviously, the guy is an alien for dirt racing. Scott looked like he was going to have a good run. Ended up getting caught up in a mess with the 15 and the 34, which ended up being an accident racing deal. He went to go around the 15. He kind of fed him the right rear, just a tiny fed him the right rear, and that made contact with Matt's left front, and then moved Matt, and Matt overcorrected at the same time, clipped the left rear of the 34, shot the 34 down into the one. One hits the fence and destroys his car. But it was wild. It was the Cup Series was very caution laden. I was very
single file restarts.
Yeah, I went single file because they couldn't double file, and we still, even with single file, we had issues.
Yeah, on dirt, it's even single file. It's so easy. Which, like I said, I'm just hypothesizing here, but it seems like a lot of these guys don't have a lot of dirt experience. And when you're single file, it's still really easy when the guy in front of you is off the green flag, he runs it high, and you just drive it down to the bottom, and then you're side by side. So at single file, you're single file for about 7 seconds if that's what you desire to go push the issue. And if you come into it with an asphalt frame of mind, you're like, oh, that's a giant hole. I gotta go fill it, and we're gonna go racing. So it's just a totally different way of racing, I think, for a lot of these guys.
The horsepower in those cars is a lot higher than the trucks also, so that's another issue. There was just the more power was being put down. Guys weren't listening to what we were trying to tell them about slower is faster, easy on the gas. They were hammering the gas wide open, getting loose, stuff like that. You had a good run though, Richard. Wait, who does this? Roger. Fuck. I just called you Richard. My fault.
You dumb bastard. I thought you were trying to call him a dick.
Roger.
Well, I mean,
my bad. I just had a brain
I was
fart.
a dick on the last 20 laps, but it was because I was all frustrated and irritated because my own fault. Started from the pits. I chose that option.
Because you had to serve a pass through, and I gave the option to either start in the pits or serve the pass through. Name is Blake Inslee.
Yeah, and I had a really good heat, and I would have started up in 5th if I would have done it correctly. But went to the back, had some equipment issues early on, got that figured out.
Talk about that a little bit. Your wheel, what happened?
So on dirt, I run 900. I have a Fanatec DD Pro, I believe it's called. Yeah, and I run a 1080 on asphalt. I run a 900 on dirt. It should have been set at 900 and it wasn't. And during the heat race, I had the broadcast. I had my camera showing. I had my buddy text me going, "You are wheeling the hell out of this thing. Fix it, because my turning was like all the way down here and it shouldn't have been." And so I was like, something's not right. So during the heat and the main, I went into my settings on Fanatec. Everything was messed up, so I fixed it. Went into iRacing, fixed it, and I had a system malfunction, and my wheel did a complete 360, and I was driving upside down in a corner. And
that's what brought out the first caution. And essentially, you appealed. You were going to be hit with another penalty. But since there was a malfunction and I reviewed it and I was able to see that there was a malfunction, it was rescinded. The penalty was.
Yeah. So that just tells everybody, check your stuff before you go, because anything can happen in one of these races, especially on dirt. I mean, I love dirt. It's really fun for me. And I basically just kind of was trying to get back up on the lead lap. Well, like you said, a lot of these guys don't run dirt from what it looks like. And I just kept getting caught into wrecks after wrecks, and basically just went down fixing repairs. And it was a couple laps before the stage, and Keith caught me, and I started ripping the fence, and he was on the bottom. And during that point in time, I realized I don't have to fix damage anymore. I just want my laps back. So around lap 100, I got all my laps back, and I basically started charging to the front. Well, you were back there. It was very hard to pass these guys without being aggressive. And I had my spotter going. James Batzer, he's one of the broadcasters for MDI TV. He does all the dirt broadcasting on Facebook and Twitch and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And he's in my ear, and he's telling me just to rip it. And I ran the bottom as much as I could, right reared a couple folks, probably made some enemies, but I was trying to get my points back, trying to get back up there, because I know if I wouldn't have had the penalty, I probably would have been up in the top 10 most of the day if I did it correctly. So came from the pits and finished 10th. I really can't complain.
That's a hell of a run.
It's a good run.
25 laps. I made it from last to 10th. So it was.
With the cautions, it made it like a heat race at the end. I ended up shortening the cautions because we'd been pacing all night long. We had to get some racing in. We had to turn green flag laps. So we ended up shortening those cautions towards the end. And that just made it like a little shootout, like a heat race. Ended up being a pretty fun little shootout type deal at the end there.
And anytime we were under green, that it was just fun racing for me, period. Yeah. I thought, I got to say that whoever all came together on the setup, I thought the setup was, I know we're PG-13, so I'm getting my one F-bomb in right here. The setup was fucking awesome. It drove, you could run the top, you could run the bottom, you could run the middle, you could kind of make it work anywhere. And it was just fun.
I actually, what I did was took the setup from last season and I made some tweaks to it. No one else just me. I tweaked it till I felt like it was. You could put it anywhere on the track, run it high, low, whatever. It was. I know it's a little tight for some people's liking.
It could be, but you could drive around it.
But you could get out. You could get out of it, and
you could spike the brake, and the brake would do a lot.
That's exactly what I was doing.
And that's what that's how I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be steady and stable for the majority of the guys that never run dirt, because if it would have been loose on entry, we would have had a lot more wrecks than what we did.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So Keith was our first 2-time winner in Cup Series, but jumping over, I'm going to talk about this real quick. Adam Lancaster actually beat him to it on Tuesday night with his second win at Iowa, second win of the season for him. So congratulations to Lancaster and Hackney both for having 2 wins, the first 2 to hit 2 wins in the season. And it's still, we're at week 6. So we have potential for several more people to still win before we actually get into the playoffs. So talk about Iowa. Lancaster was P1, Mo Abbott P2, Silvers P3, Ott P4, Arison P5. So Arison, after winning, comes out and has another good run. He won what race was it? Michigan?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 weeks
Michigan.
ago.
He won the Michigan race. Doesn't have the greatest run at Atlanta. Looks like he finished. Where is he on my list? 28th at Atlanta. So didn't have a good run at Atlanta, but comes out and has a good run at Iowa. So that's good to see. Bobby Mays was P6, Winters P7, Evans P8, Richards P9, Sean Christensen P10, and then Michael Robinson just missed the top 10. So Radburn led the majority of that race from the green till he missed the pits. Everybody pitted on him. He was driving around, and all of a sudden you see everybody go to the pits but him. So then
I've had that happen before.
Instead of staying out, I think he comes around the next time and goes into the pits, which puts him at the end, which is unfortunate. And then he's trying to drive his way back through. And
then you're back there with the gang.
So, and what happens at this point is Radburn's on the inside. He's trying to get back to the front. I think he's running like mid-pack at this point, 15th or something. Him and the 22, Robert Malikian, were going to the inside of Scott Fritz. Fritz was on the top, Malikian in the middle, Radburn on the bottom. Radburn kind of made contact with Malikian. They all kind of came together, trying to go for the same real estate. Radburn and Malikian made contact, pushed Malikian up into Scott, and then Scott, you see Scott, his wheel is, he's fighting it for a second, and then all of a sudden you see him just yank it left. To me, when I watched it, I was like, oh shit. He was like telling that guy, don't do that. And ended up causing a wreck, but by being retaliatory in nature, in my opinion. I'm not alone in this. So I think you were watching it with me, Roger, right? Or was it Cody?
Was not here.
It was Cody.
It was
Cody. Me and Cody looked at it and we were like, ooh. So sure enough, somebody protested it. And Alex, you got to look at that. What do you tell us about? What was your thoughts when you saw it? I know you pretty much were the same thing that I felt.
Yep. So just letting everyone know on the way in, when I watched the replay, like there weren't any paint schemes loaded, so I didn't know who was who or anything. So totally unbiased, but it looked like, which ended up being Scott was on the outside, and whoever it was inside of him got into him a little bit in the turn, not egregious racing deal. And then once they get on the straightaway, it looked like Scott was gonna show his displeasure, and I think he showed it more than he maybe intended to.
I agree. That's how I took it.
Yeah, because it's either that or it was like it wasn't like a straight up Bubba Wallace on Kyle Larson move where like I'm ending everybody's fucking day that's around me. It was, I think he just wanted to get close to him, and he did more than that unintentionally.
Yeah, because they were on the front stretch, and he was kind of heading to the wall a little bit, right? Like, but there was a car in front. There was a car in front of him, and you're right. That is normal. Normally, he would run right up next to that wall to get a good arc into one. So right about the start finish line, and the other scenario, the other possibility is that there was a car in front of him, and he was trying to cut over and hit that hole and get around that car in front of him. That's a possibility, but that's not how the board, the review commission, felt that it went. They essentially felt like it was retaliatory in nature. So we ended up, Scott gets put on probation 2 weeks, no qualifying, and a 10-point penalty.
Welcome to the club, Scott.
So he, it's unfortunate, but when you're driving like in that situation, and you take
especially on a straightaway.
Yeah, if it was in the corner, it would be different, right?
Like if you're gonna be a dick to a guy, you got to do it in a place where you might have, a little defense. But if you do it on a straightaway, like everyone's gonna see that.
Yeah. It was like I said, it was egregious. It was very obvious. He was offered an opportunity to appeal it and said he didn't want to appeal it. He didn't have the replay anyways to show his inputs and stuff like that. So yeah, he's getting the penalty for the retaliatory actions that resulted in a wreck.
Which Scott's been around a long time. He's done a lot of racing. He's probably more aware of what he did than we are, and it happens to all of us. We've all been in that position where our emotions have gotten the best of us. Yeah. I've done it. I've done it with you. I'm sure Rogers. I mean, that's a part of being a racer and getting better over time, is trying to limit when that kind of stuff happens. But you see it at everywhere from the go-kart track to down the street to Daytona International Speedway. Like that's right. It's human nature to have emotions play a role in how effective you are on the racetrack.
Absolutely. And that was kind of what I told him. I said, man, I don't think that you intended to wreck everyone like you did, but I feel like you were definitely trying to send a message. Hey, don't do that shit anymore.
That was my pick too.
Yeah. And if it didn't get protested, then nothing is said about it. So, if you guys feel like something needs to be protested, you can send it in to David Farmer for the trucks and the Xfinity, and David Brackett for the Cup, and it'll get reviewed and looked at by a panel of your peers, and they'll come with a recommendation. And typically, I go with what they recommend. So,
and I'll say this, and this will help us segue into somebody I think you want to talk about, Jason. Up until this season, I had never protested anything, and we talked about it a few weeks ago when I protested the Mike Peters deal.
Yeah,
and it's not. And even when I did it, I knew that I wouldn't gain anything from it. It doesn't fix my race. That's why I really don't try to protest things. But in that specific instance, the reason I did it is I wanted people to see that we can't do that kind of thing on pit road. And that was the only reason. Obviously, it turned into a big thing, and it is what it is.
Big ordeal.
Yeah, and then you're gonna. I guess it seems like that just kind of ignited, like, him going forward, and I'll let you speak on that, because I don't know anything else about it.
Hold on 1 second, because that you said you protested, right? Because I did the same thing, because it was a big gaggle on pit road that came way down, because I had an incident at the same deal, but because of that happened, I pretty much missed my box because I got blocked.
Yep.
But what we didn't see was everything ahead of us.
Yeah.
So that incident caused a lot more on pit road.
Yeah.
So,
And he feels like he's not responsible. He didn't do anything wrong. And I've been seeing screenshots of him talking shit about me, about the league. The guy has issues, clearly. I don't know what they are, but he's got issues. We have more drivers that race in real life than just him. I don't know what the deal is. He thinks he's God's gift to racing, apparently. Okay. And here's the deal. We have guys that have ran at the highest fucking level of racing. Talking NASCAR. John Kinder's one of them. Okay. The dude ran against fucking Dale Earnhardt in Japan. Okay. So he doesn't act like that. He doesn't act like he's better than everyone else and he's smarter than everyone else and no one knows anything. And between him and several other guys that work in the NASCAR industry, that's where our rule book and stuff has come from. It's come from the drivers. It's come from Matt Grenier, Brandon Robertson, David Brackett, John Kinder, Adam Lancaster, Justin Winters, those guys, Alex Huffman, David Farmer now, Alex Healy now. These guys have contributed to what we currently have as our rules package. These rules are there because we've had instances of something happening before, right? So, the reason that you get an EOL for causing a caution is because that's what the drivers want. The drivers want that. They want people to have repercussions for their actions. If you drive like an asshole, you get put at the back. Okay. So, and something he said was that he said that I need to acknowledge some stuff. Here's me acknowledging all this shit. Okay. You drive like an asshole. You run into Twitty. You sit in there and act like you don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, I was a straight. No, you fed him a right rear. Feeding him a right rear means you went up, you hit him with your right rear in his front, which then caused him to get loose, and in the process, hit another car. Caution comes out. Twitty's not at fault. Why would Twitty be at fault? You're the one that hit Twitty. Very simple, man. It's not complex. You say that, and you say that you've seen free leagues ran with more tact and respect and just decency. I've not been anything but decent to you. You're the one that was messaging Wednesday night saying sub 1500 I rating guys. I need to tell them not to drive like an asshole to everybody or whatever. And you want me to say it so that you don't look like an asshole is what you said. Was hoping you'd say something so none of us had to sound like assholes. Thank you. Okay. After the race, you send me a message. I don't think this league is for me. If I can get my winnings left over, I think I'm out. Thanks. I send you 2 videos. Okay. You're trying to tell everybody that I just blocked you. I didn't block you. Not until after I got done saying what I was saying. I sent you 2 videos of the accident. You running into Twitty. Told you that's what brought out the yellow. You initiated the contact, therefore you're responsible for the yellow. Then I said, any payouts will be completed at the end of the season. So if you want to quit, that's fine. And payouts will be done at the conclusion of the season. Thank you. Then I blocked the guy. Okay. I didn't just straight up block him. I sent this. This message has been sent for full transparency. I've sent this message to your team owner. So you're sitting there telling your team owner that I just blocked you, not, for no reason.
And I think, the reason that after you said all that, then you blocked him after, it's because we've seen what happens when you engage in a back and forth. You start getting these walls of text and stuff. And I handled it kind of the way you did. I didn't block him. I was like, I'm not reading all that shit. And look, I know that we both had our issues with him coming into the season. This is going to blow everyone's mind because I'm going to kind of come to Mike's defense a little bit. I know that he's made some mistakes and he's said things that he shouldn't said and maybe gotten too emotionally wound up in some of this stuff. I do think he's a talented driver. I used to, when I ran fixed all the time when I was first on the service, I was in C-fixed lobbies with him all the time, and we had tons of runs together. Always had good conversations. And coming into the season, I thought he had the right attitude. He's interacting with people.
He did
all
at
that kind of
first.
good stuff. Yeah.
100%.
And I don't know if my initial deal with him kind of ignited like some bad behavior or something, but I think deep down, if he's willing to face some of these things and take some responsibility, there's a good league driver in there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like that there's 100% a good guy, a possibility for him to, recompense. Is that the right word? Recompense.
Give me one second.
I think that's.
Sorry.
I think it's recompense, right? And that the word, it means he can salvage it by.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's what the word I'm looking for. Anyways,
Offense?
he can. Well, repentance is one of them. But anyways, yeah. If he wants to acknowledge that he's responsible for his actions and his actions alone, no one else is responsible for it. No one else is doing anything to the guy, right? Like he's expressed his displeasure about calls and whatnot, and it's been acknowledged. We've talked about it. Okay, yep, we understand what you're saying. You're not happy with certain things, and that's fine. I get that. That's. But the issue is when you start attacking me and attacking the league, just because you're not happy with something, because you did something that and then you didn't like the call. It's not my fault. It's not the league's fault. It's ultimately your fault. You're responsible for, for your actions, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's ridiculous that a grown man is acting like this. Is my point.
It's sad it came down to the novels and the screenshots of, like I said the other day, the NFL playbook. He markered everything up. He had circles. He had all this different stuff. And it's like we're all in this general chat going, we're not reading this, man. Like, this is way too much to even, like, no.
So I don't. Go ahead.
It's the same. I told him when we had the thing, if my wife sends me a message that looks like that, I'm not reading it. I'll talk to you when I get home. I'm not.
Yeah.
I ain't.
We'll talk in person. If you want to.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not. That's my thing. That's why I blocked him. I knew that if I didn't, it was going to continue to be an argument.
It would just go forever.
Yeah. It would went forever.
So if he even listens to this, or if someone relays this message, I know we beat up on him some, but I actually like the guy. I know that he hates me now because I protested him the one time. I think he's a funny, probably smart dude, but I think he might need a little reality check to where maybe he stands versus the rest of the population.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about it as well. And here's the deal. If he wants to have a conversation, like an actual conversation, and not yell and scream and act like a fool, we can do that. If you want to act like an adult. So something else that I want to bring up is I know that he was going back to my Twitch streams because I stream race control for transparency reasons, right? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm doing it so that everyone can see what's going on. So he goes back into the race control, back to the Atlanta race, whenever I lost my shit on everybody for commenting up and keying up and on the radio and shit, right? He goes back and screen records it and shows everybody. So, I mean, I just don't know why. Like, what's the point, dude? I'm not trying to hide it. That farmer asked me, were you streaming when you did it? He's like, I want to go back and look at that shit. It's probably funny. I was like, hell yeah, I was streaming. It's like, I ain't got nothing to hide. I don't care. That's the thing. This league is ran the way it's ran because it works. Okay.
It's been here before me, before him, and it's going to be here after him. Maybe not after me. I don't plan on going anywhere, but
exactly. And that's the thing, man. You may not like everything that I do, and I may not always get everything right. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to get everything right. I'm not going to get every single call right. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes I make the wrong call. If you want to talk about it like an adult, we can talk about it like an adult, but we're not going to sit here and argue and fight and shit like that. Just like I disabled his radio in the race because we're not going to sit there and argue over comms while everybody else is trying to race. The call that was made is the call. If you don't like it, wait till after the race, and then we'll talk about it calmly. But I will tell you this: if you come in with a certain energy, I'm going to match that energy. You come in with a shitty attitude, you're going to get it right back. I'm not going to lie. I'm an asshole. I don't care. I'll tell everybody in the world. I'm going to give you exactly what you give me back.
You don't have to tell anybody you're an asshole. We can
exactly, and I don't care. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to be a certain way to run this league. You can't be like everybody's buddy all the time. Do I want people mad at me? Fuck no.
Makes everything harder.
Do I want people to hate me? No. Do I care? Hell no. Hate me all you want. It's not going to change how I officiate, how I do things. My integrity is too much. It's more valuable to me than your opinion of me. So it's that simple, man. Like,
so is Monday's truck race control on your Twitch?
Yeah. Why?
All right, I got to go back and watch because I got mad at them during that one.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. But I don't think you said anything until. I don't think you said anything. After. I think you waited till I think the stream was already cut off before you said anything. But yeah, you had some. You were not happy with somebody there. It was pretty funny.
I vaguely remember it.
We had a guest host or guest race control. So yeah, that's all I'll say about it. And go ahead.
That's probably the maddest I've ever been doing race control. I mean, it was. There's been some race controls that's like really hard to keep up with.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's not easy, and it's like if you want to do race control, if you think that you can do a better job, come in Monday night and join me and Roger and whoever else is in there with us and do race control, man. And you'll see we don't just make bullshit calls and random. We actually put some effort into it.
Yeah,
like
we treat it like a job.
Yeah, I rode with the leader every time the restart went, so we could see if they jumped or not because it was different. This was a different type of restart. So there's a lot that goes into it. Like, it's
a lot, man. Like we're constantly, I try to monitor the entire field. So I have my camera backed way out. So I'll change cameras and look at things from different angles and different views and try to make the most of it. That's what we do. We don't just half-ass it. We treat it like a legitimate job. And look at the puppers. Hey, puppers.
Yep, he's been whining.
And so we try to, do it professionally. And I think that's what makes this league so special is that we have so much passion for it that we treat it the way we do. And it's awesome that other people have passion for it as well. But sometimes you have to put that in check and maybe you do a reality check on yourself. I know there was another comment, for instance, that was made that I was chasing every $10 I could and letting these shitty drivers in. It has nothing to do with money. Literally nothing. They signed up to run just like everyone else. They're allowed to be there. If they weren't allowed to be there, I would tell them they're not allowed to be there. So it's, his outlook, his whole opinion and just shitty drivers and talking shit and all this and that. Like, it's toxic, man. It's toxic is what it is. So if he wants to continue being the way he's been, then he's right. This isn't the league for him. It's the league. It's the league for the other 100 people that are in here. Okay.
There's plenty of others, and talking about shitty drivers and this and that. There's weeks where I've looked like a shitty driver. There's probably weeks where each one of you've looked like a shitty driver. I can tell you last week he looked like a shitty driver in Cup Series. He looked like a chicane out there to me, and I'm not the God's gift of dirt racing by any stretch. And I was like,
and he doesn't realize
how it goes.
He doesn't realize that everyone else's opinion of him is not as high as he thinks it is.
It's just having some self-awareness. That's all. That's all it really is. And I know that there are people that watch this are probably like, they don't give a damn about anything I have to say because we've had a dust up at some point. And I wish everyone liked me. It'd be cool. It'd make things easier, but that's not how racing works.
Not how life works.
Yeah, whether it's on a computer or live or on a real life racetrack.
Well, that's why there are rivalries.
Yeah.
All right.
And that makes it interesting.
So, and to kind of lead off from where we just were, I was warned about the guy prior to the season starting, right? He's been removed from several other leagues already. And when there's a pattern, there has to be a common denominator. So maybe he should reflect on that a little bit and look at himself and do some self-reflection, like you were saying, Alex. All right. Moving on to Chili Bowl winner Logan Seavey. Chili Bowl winner Logan Seavey pulls it off. The 2023 Chili Bowl champion winner Logan Seavey in a Kevin Swindell Speed Labs built midget last night. That was a fun race to watch. I've already seen people like Brett Griffin talking crap about it.
Yep.
Several other people saying that the big names from the sport weren't there and this and that. Kevin Swindell is a big name from the sport, and Logan Seavey took his midget and kicked the last season's winner, Tanner Thorson. He was there. He had a shot to win it. Didn't make the move. Didn't use the bumper or anything like that. Kept it clean and couldn't get it done, unfortunately. So hats off to Seavey. Congratulations to Seavey. Guy did a great job. He led that thing for like the first 26 laps. And then Cannon, what's his last name? Cannon's last name. McIntosh comes in. Cannon McIntosh comes in, leads a few laps from like 26 to 34, something like that. And then Seavey took over again and led from there to the end. So good job. Fun to watch. And that's going to be my segue to announce our second annual Bluegrass Chili Bowl next Saturday night. $500 guaranteed to win. $25 to register. So we'll have a flyer ready hopefully soon, and we'll try to get everybody signed up as quickly as possible for that. If you're not a dirt guy and you don't want to run it, then you don't have to run it. But if you want to run it, you want to take a shot at $500, come out and run it with us, boys.
It's good fun. It's good fun.
Yeah. Even if you're not a dirt guy, that little track and that midget are the funnest combination ever. So, if you're interested, join us next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bluegrass Chili Bowl. We will be running it just like they do Chili Bowl in real life. You have heat races, alphabet soup, B main, C mains, and then the A main. So hopefully everyone will have a good time. Hopefully we can get like 150, 200 people signed up. I doubt it's going to happen, but like that would be freaking awesome if we could get at least 100 people signed up. And then if that's the case, if we do, like, for instance, let's say we sign up 100 people, payouts are going to, like, if you make the feature, everyone should get money at that point. If we can sign up that type of a big amount of drivers, payouts are going to increase. The 500 is going to be guaranteed regardless. But we're going to try to, we want to sign up as many people as possible is what I'm saying. So the more, the better. Just tell your buddies, tell your friends. Next Saturday night, we're going to have fun. So that'll be on January 28th, January 21st. Shit. January 21st. Got too far ahead of myself. January 21st, guys. Write it down. And I guess that'll lead us into the picks for COTA. Coming up to COTA, boys. I think, I probably missed a few things this episode because I got off on a tangent and had my little rant, but that those are things that need to be said, man. So
indeed.
Picks. Who wants to start off? Alex, you want to lead us into this and handle this?
I'll do it. I guess we'll start in the good old truck series, and I'm gonna apply the pressure to myself. Last the first challenge for your boy. I'll be starting at the back thanks to my transgressions at Atlanta, and we're gonna see if I can do it. Because which I don't know if anyone's coming down. I don't know that there are any real big road racers that might come down that like this kind of thing. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But whatever, I'm doing the damn thing, or at least I'm going to give it the old college try.
Hey, if Aaron Smith can do it, I think you can do it. He went from the back to the front.
Yeah, he's got a little pace on me, but I've got a strategy that it's kind of what I'm forced to do, so we'll see if it works out. I know last season I had a second or two of pace on pretty much everybody. I think it's just for me personally, I really got to focus on surviving that first half lap when everyone's bunched up before we get stretched out, and then after that, hopefully, I can start going to work on some of these guys. I've been practicing a ton. I've gone faster than I went last season by a lot, and we'll see what happens.
So, have you been preparing a lot for this one? Yeah,
I've been running AI races like every other day and just practice laps.
You feel good? You feel good though?
As good as I can. I know it's still a tall task, so we'll see.
So, go ahead with your pick, Roger. Let us know who you think is going to win this week in the truck series at COTA, man. What's your thoughts on this?
I would put the pressure on my teammate, though. I'm going to pick Cody Anderson.
Cody, okay, Cody. This one's a little difficult because I'm not sure who is going to be a good road racer. But I'm gonna shock everybody. I'm gonna pick Fernando. If Fernando shows up, because he said he doesn't know if he's going to show up, I'm picking Fernando Takahashi. He's a road racer, from what I've seen.
Also WJM guy as well. So another one.
So
I do have a hard and fast rule when I run official road races. The less American their name is, the faster they are in general.
Well, I'm hoping that he can transition his road racing skills into the truck. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. And that's going to take us over into. Well, hold on, wait. If he doesn't show up, do I get another pick because he doesn't know if he's going to be there?
I'll allow it.
All
right. So this is tough.
It is a tough because we don't have a lot of people that love road racing.
Wes Wiggin is my if Takahashi doesn't show up, Wes Wiggin.
I was in practice with the Flex boys today, and he's looking solid, and Bobby Hall's looking really solid too.
All right, so I guess that puts us over into the Xfinity series at COTA. Who we got there, boys? That's going to be a fun one.
I got James Silvers.
That's a solid pick, James Silvers.
I don't know. I'm making this pick with my heart and not my head.
Okay.
Jason Bridges. This is home track. I know he's been fast there previously. I know my first season, I think he finished second there, and I finished like 6th or 7th my first time on it. And I know that it's a track that he likes. I know that he runs GT cars some, so I wouldn't say he's a road racer, but he does road racing too. So I'm rolling with my boy Jason.
All right. I think, let's see who we got. This is going to be a tough one. You picked Silvers. I'm going to pick, I don't know how the new guys are on road yet. We haven't seen anybody new.
It's such a crapshoot.
I think it's going to be, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. Blake Hensley. Let's go Blake. Blake's going to pull it off this week in Xfinity at COTA. So I could be completely wrong, but who knows?
We are all probably completely wrong about every pick we just made. Especially me.
I don't know, man. I was in some practices, and there's some people who are a lot faster than I thought they were going to be. I'll put it that way. I think everybody's putting in time at this track. Like
yeah.
You can't just show up and race it.
Yeah, I mean, I put in at least 10 hours at this track, and I won't. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go first since I haven't picked first yet. And my pick is going to be John Schwartz for Cup Series.
All right.
I think Schwartz is going to be, he's a talented road course driver. He does a lot of road course racing. I think Schwartz will get it done.
All right. You want to go or me, Roger?
Here's the thing with this one is I don't know. Being one of the new guys, I've only seen practice with some of these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like I think Rocky's a road course rider. I don't think I know he didn't start doing a lot of oval until recently. I don't know. I'm going to pick Mikey Neal.
Mikey Neal. That's not a bad pick.
That's a good pick, actually.
Yeah, he's competitive at road courses. He's in the mix.
Yeah, he rocked that Ohio State logo on his car. Yep. I'm a fan, so.
Brandon Holder's a good pick. Hackney's a good pick. There's still a lot of good picks left. Farmer's a good pick. Farmer's a really good pick for COTA, actually.
Which is who I'm taking.
Taking Farmer?
Yeah, I did some next gen practice with him last night, which I kind of wish I hadn't because I did some truck practice today and it kind of threw me off.
With you.
Dude, it's so
messing
different.
With you.
Yeah, but I following his guidance when I first jumped in the practice session, I was slower in the Cup car than I was the trucks by like 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And then watching him and taking his advice in that single practice session, I knocked 7 seconds off of my next gen lap time. It wasn't good to start with, so don't think
what are you running?
Fast.
What are you running?
The fastest I went was like, I went a 2:15.5.
That's fast. That's fast.
Well,
that's fast. Dave's in the 2:11s, I'm sure.
No, I think he in that session in particular, I think he was 2 seconds faster than me.
2:13. That sounds about right.
I think so.
Wasn't Aaron Smith 2:11 last season? 2:11 or 2:12?
He was.
Hold on, let me look. Let me pull
outrageous.
it
Yeah.
Season killing me, man. I thought
season
16
5. Was good. Season 5. COTA. Frankie won COTA last season. Actually, 2:11.067. I'm sorry, Cedric Hunter won. 2:11.067. 2:11.067 is a fast lap at COTA.
Dude, that's hauling.
That's fast.
There was a guy that joined our session yesterday who was a road course guy.
2:14, 2:13.9, I think.
Something like that. He was
2:13.9. But 2:11 is what is going to be. There's only 3 guys in the league last season that were able to run 2:11. Cedric Hunter, Aaron Smith, Frankie Barroso. Everybody else was 2:13, 2:13, 2:14, 2:15, 2:16. 2:16 was the slowest. Brian Terry, no, 2:22. Brian Terry was slow. Frankie.
No, Frankie is okay.
That's the only one. 2:11.067 for Cedric Hunter, and he did that on what lap? It doesn't tell me his fastest lap.
I think it was kind of towards
the back end because he didn't take tires the whole race.
I wasn't gonna say it.
The whole race.
Yeah. I mean, the car is so heavy and so awkward. Like
So hey, you said it was heavy, and which I don't drive them as much as you guys do. My focus is more on trucks. That was the first thing I said to Dave. I was like, man, this thing feels heavy compared to the truck. It weighs the exact same as the trucks do. It does not feel like it at all, but it is the exact same weight.
Wow.
So I'm like,
that's a mind blower.
I run trucks, right? Mm-hmm. This is the only time I really run next gen is this league. I get paid to run trucks. That's just my discipline. I did cups in this league because obviously my rating, but just to learn them as well because NIS and stuff like that. Like I've learned so much about the cup cars here, but it's the setup that iRacing has on this. It's so finicky. If you just hold the wheel just a little bit to the left, the car's going around. If you hold it to the right, it's going around. If you don't hit your brakes right, you're not stopping. It's so finicky.
It's razor's edge. You're on a tightrope the entire time. I've found that the The next gen car. It seems like it has a larger margin for error than the trucks, even though.
Here's a little tidbit of information for everybody. So Cedric, Aaron, and Frankie didn't take tires the whole race. I think maybe Frankie and Aaron took tires once. I don't know.
Maybe at the stage.
34 lap race. Okay, 34 lap race. Fastest lap number. Guess. I want y'all to guess. What number do you think 33. It was? Nope.
31.
26, 29, and 26 for Cedric, Aaron, and Frankie, respectively. So Aaron didn't run his 2:11.33 till lap 29. Frankie and Cedric did it on lap 26, both. They ran 2:11.067, 2:11.44. Huffman ran his fastest lap on 16, 2:13.24. Bridges went his on lap 15, 2:12.72. Holder went on lap 28, 2:13.42. Fritz went a 2:15 on lap 31. So
it's interesting. It's very.
I want to see if they change that. I want to see if they change that tire model. If it's going to be the same, no tire changes. That's going to be.
I know the answer.
That's going to be. Well, I think I know the answer too.
but
not everybody else knows it. So, and that's going to be interesting to see what actually transpires. So,
yep.
All right. I think that's going to bring us to a close. We got to cover our sponsors. Alex, you want to do it this time?
I got them. I'll talk about these sponsors. We've got the Kinder Performance Group. We've got Alex Huffman Designs. We got Butt Kicker, Red Rocket Buildings and Barbecue, Scott Fritz Designs, and Elevated Outdoors. Thank you guys for all the support you give this league, whether it's doing paint jobs for guys, helping out, whatever it is, any way that you're involved, we appreciate it a ton.
Absolutely. We couldn't do this without the help of our sponsors. Also, a couple guys that don't want credit. Roger has been doing hard charger and clean driver for us. WJM. That's another one that I should add it to the list. I completely forgot. I just now remembered. And Keith Hackney, he put one up for last week. He put up a clean driver, so we want to thank those guys. Ed Osborne, Alex Healy. Yep, you're another one.
I've got to do
this week.
COTA this
week. Yep.
Because I lost that bet.
Yep. And so the drivers that make the contributions, and I think Jason Bridges actually said something the other day that he was going to cover one of them for the rest of the season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, during the drivers meeting. So. That's a good dude right there. I like Jason a lot. Shout out to Jason Bridges. And I want to thank Twitty. Obviously, Twitty does the trophies for us and stuff. And Twitty said he might be able to help contribute a little bit more to the clean drivers and hard chargers also, and some other. Because Brian Terry with Red Rocket, he covers it for the Cup Series. We don't really have one technically for the other two series. They're kind of coming in weekly. Roger's been doing it for the last couple weeks with WJM. So obviously we invite any more of those guys that want to come be a sponsor. It helps the league. We do appreciate it. It's going back to the drivers, and that's what matters. It's going to the drivers. So. Thanks to all those guys. And if anybody wants to sign up to be a sponsor for this week's Chili Bowl, second annual Bluegrass Chili Bowl, we're going to need some guys to come on board for that as well. If we can find somebody to come in, that would be great. Maybe increase that purse a little bit.
I think that's it, my guys.
Yeah. That'll wrap it up. And
so there's my sleepy dog. Starring.
Sleepy dog. And so for Alex Healy, Roger Pierce, this is Jason Collins signing off. Episode 14 of the Bluegrass Race Hub.
See you.